Throughout 2023 and 24, our team investigated 30 slaughterhouses across this country. From the enormous, like Diamond Valley Pork, 20 minutes out of Melbourne, where up to 10 pigs at a time are lowered into an excruciating gas chamber. Green Mountain near Brisbane and Ralph's in Seymour, where terrified cows are repeatedly jabbed with a painful electric prodder, forcing them into the kill room where a bolt will be shot into their brain to immobilize them so that their throats can be cut open without resistance, often while they are still conscious and aware and able to feel every agonizing moment until their organs eventually shut down from the blood loss. The award-winning Tasmanian Quality Meats, where Tasmania's dairy industry sends thousands upon thousands of days-old, unwanted calves who cry out in confused desperation for their mothers as they are beaten and thrown into a restraint conveyor, the electric stunner merely paralyzing them so they can't get away as the knife slices across their necks. To the mid-sized facilities, like the locally esteemed family-run Kerry Brothers slaughterhouse in Queensland, where our cameras captured a frustrated worker plunging his knife into the body of a sheep who escaped the stunner, and then again, before pulling them into a headlock, decapitating them and flinging their head across the room. Shame. And pigs, still conscious, their throats already cut, being lowered into the scalding tank to drown in a mixture of the scalding water and their own blood. This was not the first time hidden cameras had revealed sickening cruelty at the Kerry Brothers slaughterhouse, but the only action the state government had taken in response to that original 2019 footage was to give the place a $250,000 grant. Reward money for animal abuse unwillingly funded by taxpayers. And then there were the smaller places that like to frame themselves as the ethical alternative to the big operations, that run their own butcher shop, the kind of place you might want to go if you want to eat meat, but you want to tell yourself that the animals didn't suffer too much. Like Menzel's Meats, north of Adelaide, or Brisbane Valley Meats, Crow's Nest Meatworks, and McLagan Meats in southern Queensland, where animals are picked off one at a time in front of each other in an open pen where there's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide, except under the convulsing, bleeding bodies of those who haven't yet been dragged into the kill room. This is the animal slaughter industry in Australia, an industry that cannot be divorced from cruelty, abuse, suffering, pain, fear. No matter the size of the facility, no matter the reputation it has fostered, no matter how many pleasing buzzwords they use in their marketing campaigns, no matter the practices and the methods, a bolt gun or an electric stunner or a rifle or a gas chamber, they are, at their core, all the same. Devoid of mercy or morality, places of extreme violence where prosperity is measured in blood. The animals whose lives are ended behind these walls are intentionally excluded from most forms of legal protection because animal cruelty apparently isn't a crime if there's money to be made. There is a shared pretense, though. A collective lie that slaughterhouses operate under, that there are standards that must be adhered to, levels of cruelty that are a step too far. We are told that these animals, before their throats can be cut open, their blood drained, their organs removed, and their bodies butchered, must be stunned in a way that ensures the animals are unconscious and insensible to pain. The only way that this expectation can be enforced is for the Department of Agriculture to be sufficiently motivated to undermine the industry that they exist to serve. Last year, we captured footage at the Game Meats Company slaughterhouse in northern Victoria, where newborn goats born in the truck or in the holding pens are electrocuted and then left half paralyzed in a bucket for hours, crying out in pain. While in the next room, the adult goats are hit with brooms or by hand, thrown into the restraint conveyor, some breaking free and running loose among the hanging bodies of those before them, others shackled upside down and their throats cut while fully conscious, blinking and lifting their heads, looking around and calling out in pain. As common as this kind of treatment is in slaughterhouses around the country, we still wanted the people behind this operation to face some kind of consequences for their actions, as they all should. We reported them to the Federal Department of Agriculture, providing a small sample of the kinds of cruelty we'd uncovered over just several days of our cameras being installed there, and we offered the entirety of our footage. We received no response. Instead, 2 weeks later, just as we'd published hours of footage on our website, We were served with an injunction that had been granted by the federal court in secret earlier that day. We were given the option of taking down the footage or going to prison. Through evidence presented during the trial, it was revealed that instead of acting on our complaint and initiating an investigation into the slaughterhouse, the Department of Agriculture had quietly given them the heads up, warning them that there may be negative media attention on the way and giving them the opportunity to get the injunction while we held off going public. It was further revealed that the person at the game meats company whose role it was to ensure compliance, to ensure that the level of cruelty didn't quite tip over into the illegal, was an employee of the Department of Agriculture and was submitting daily reports to the department indicating that all was fine. And despite these revelations of corruption, the department has refused to confirm whether anyone involved has been let go or whether any meaningful action has been taken against the slaughterhouse staff or management in the nearly 11 months since receiving our complaint. The game meats company has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to ensure that the evidence of their wrongdoing never sees the light of day. In the judgment handed down 3 months ago, the permanent injunction they sought was not granted, but we remained legally unable to publish pending an appeal, which they have since lodged and is due to be heard later this year. They want to drag this out as long as possible, drown us in legal fees and intimidate us into backing down. They want to be able to say when this footage does inevitably surface that it's old, it doesn't represent their operations today, that they shouldn't be judged for it. The footage showed nothing more than aberrations, glitches long since rectified, in a system of high standards that takes animal welfare seriously and prides itself on serving the most humane and ethical of deaths. At the end of the day, there is no more masking the fact that they and all these facilities operate a business of cruelty that has no place in our society. Our footage has revealed time and time again that stunning has nothing to do with rendering animals unconscious. It has nothing to do with preventing them feeling pain. It is about making sure that in those final moments, when they've smelled the blood, heard the screams, and seen exactly what's about to come next, in those moments when they are the most terrified, the most desperate, they cannot fight back. It is not a measure of benevolence. It is not to be humane. It is to compensate for their will to live and to ensure that the production line is not slowed down for such an inconvenient characteristic. There are no improvements that can be made to a system that is fundamentally flawed, fundamentally unjust, and fundamentally unjustifiable. Our footage across this country tells a story not of bad apples or rogue operators, but an industry beyond redemption that must be relegated to a shameful corner of our history. The time has come to shut down every last slaughterhouse.